The Girsan LW High Power. Let's check it out. The Browning High Power was introduced in 1935. It was John Browning's final design. In fact, he died before its completion. But the High Power has served military forces all around the world. In 2018, FN discontinued the High Power. Now they reintroduced a new updated model, but the old classic High Power was gone. Now there have been a number of companies that have made High Power clones, including Girsan, TISA, and Springfield Armory. But today we're going to look at something that is a little different. Now this is a Girsan LW High Power. Short in barrel, it has an aluminum alloy frame, and while Girsan still makes their standard High Power clone, this is a really lightweight and even better carry option. Now these are being imported by EAA, or European American Armory. And guys, I'll tell you, these are made in Turkey, and Turkey is putting out some really incredible firearms for the money. And this LW High Power is no exception. And we want to give a big thank you to EAA for sending the Girsan LW High Power for this review. Girsan is known for bringing back really legendary designs back to the market. And of course, with FN dropping the High Power back in 2018, it really just opened up a market for the High Power. Now, one of the things about the original FN, or the Browning High Power, is that once they stopped making these pistols have gone through the roof as far as value. And so if you want an original High Power, they've gotten to be very expensive and honestly hard to get. And so with the Girsan, it's coming in at a brand new gun for a reasonable price. Now this is their lightweight version. Actually the name is MCP35 P1 LW Match. And that's a long name. But right here on the slide, it just has it spelled out. Now I'm glad that it's kind of Cerakoted in. It's just almost unnoticeable, but it is there to give you the model number. Here on the other side, it just says Girsan High Power. And so this is really a very unique firearm, and we're going to get into that in a second. But I'm going to drop the 15-round magazine, check the chamber, and it's empty. Now it uses the full-size Browning High Power magazines, but originally they were only 13 rounds. But they've gone pretty much across the board to 15. Plus this is a Metgar mag, so it's a good quality mag. One thing too is the beveling here on the mag well, which makes those mags just go in a little better. We're going to look at some differences between this and your standard High Power. But guys, there are some things that have been done to this High Power that really remedy a lot of the problems of the original High Powers. Now, according to Girsan, this weighs about ½ a pound less than their full-size High Power, which is an all-steel construction. They do make an all-steel compact version. And honestly, this is what they call their match version. Now, they have their standard OPS version, which has an accessory rail. So if you want an accessory rail, there is an option for that as well, even in the lightweight frame system. And to be honest, guys, when I first got this, I was thinking, okay, shorter barrel, aluminum alloy frame, this is going to be, you know, kind of snappy. And we're going to get into it during the range time, but I'll just tell you, this is a very sweet shooting handgun. And a lot of that has to do with we're used to shooting the lighter weight polymer frame pistols. But there's something about an aluminum frame that just gives you some rigidity, it gives you strength, and it just feels better in your hand. Now, I'm a big Glock guy. I love polymer frames, striker fire pistols. but I'm finding myself going back to the aluminum frame lightweight options for concealed carry. The barrel length is 3.88 inches. With the full size high power, the barrel length is 4.87 inches. So it's about an inch difference in barrel length, which also reduces an inch of the slide. And then of course the grips are going to be the same length, whether you have the full size high power or the lightweight. And I'm glad they retained that, because the high power grip in itself is fairly short. And so it still gives you a compact size. In fact, when you look at it, it's almost like that the slide kind of sticks out and it's disproportionate. But there's something about a high power that I think is just absolutely beautiful. Now this is one of the Springfield Armory S35s. And so this has been a great pistol. One of the things that we had to do is change out the extractor, but they fixed that a long time ago, but when they first came out. But an excellent quality handgun. And more toward the standard Browning high power or FN high power line. But with the lightweight version, first thing you'll notice is that it has this longer tang beaver tail. Now this is very important for high powers, because a lot of guys with bigger hands, with the original little nub right here, and you have that standard tanged hammer, it would come back and it would bite you. In fact, a lot of guys had that problem. They still love to shoot the high power, but it's painful. And so this is just a nice addition with that extended beaver tail grip, and it just gives you more comfort. Then it has the commander style hammer, which is just going to nestle into the beaver tail. And I'll tell you guys, that is probably one of the biggest things that a lot of people have complained about with the Browning high power design. Now for me, I've never had any issues with the high power as far as slide bite, because my hands are not that big, they're not beefy. And so when that hammer comes back, and especially even with the commander style hammer, that's going to help some. But a lot of guys do get that slide bite. Now being single action, high powers typically have a pretty good trigger. With this flat face trigger, it makes it really crisp. The G10 grips, they have the golf ball pattern here, and then it has that swirl, but these are excellent grips. Even though the back strap and the front strap are smooth, it gives you a really good feel. And the one thing about the high power is it is very ergonomic. It just seems to fit in your hand just right. And the grips are interchangeable for any of your high powers. I would suspect that most of your parts for the Girsan high power are compatible with any of your parts on your FN or Browning high power. Now, I'm not saying that for certain, but after looking through it, I'm 99% sure that they're going to be compatible. And you have ambidextrous safeties on either side, a little stiff, but not too bad, mainly bringing it up. But bringing it down, really easy to do, and of course, you've got the safety on the other side, and it is extended. Slide stop is traditional high power. It's long and it comes all the way back. But with the high power cuts, they're just shortened. But again, it makes it a very light handgun. Traditional serrations on the slide. The rear sight is blacked in, and it is kind of at an angle, and then we have a fiber optic front sight. But a huge addition as well is that we have optics cuts, and this is made for the Shield RMSC. It's the footprint, so you can place your red dot sight right on here. Now one ding is you have to remove the back sight because it's part of the plate, but it does give you that red dot ready sight system. So if you really like to run a red dot and you like to run a light on your gun, Girsan does offer that as the OPS package. Now this particular one is in the black with the tungsten gray frame. You can get just the all black as well. And there are a number of different other options that Girsan offers. And your standard magazines from the high power, all of them will fit. I mean, it's just a standard high power magazine. And even the Springfield Armory magazine, it's going to fit, it's going to function. So all your high power magazines will work in the Girsan. Now one thing you'll notice also is this lip that comes out just a little bit on the Girsan, which on the standard high powers, it's just a flat surface. Now as far as the trigger action, again, it's that flat face trigger. The geometry makes it really consistent. And so as we bring it back, it hits a wall and a really nice break. And reset. Comes out just a little bit. You can hear it. Somewhat tactile, but a nice break. Weight on the Girsan, lightweight, 25.53 ounces. Weight on your standard FN high power, 32.39 ounces. So about 7 ounces. Of course, I want to give a big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo. All made in the USA, one of the #1 suppliers of ammunition in the country. And also, obviously, our little loaders are loading well if I can just get them into the magazine. I'm a big fan of the high power, but it's all steel and it has the longer slide. With the aluminum frame and the shorter slide, I was really curious how it would shoot. I thought maybe we'd get a little more muzzle rise. Of course, the ergonomics of the Browning high power are excellent. Now, if you have big hands, you're going to get this hammer bite, maybe some slide bite. But with this extended beaver tail, it's going to be very difficult to get that. I don't have that problem. But overall, I mean, the high power is such a classic. Guys, it shoots really well. It shoots really flat in the hand. It's really just stays right on target. And very impressed with Girsan. And it's funny because they just seem to keep raising the bar. But this is definitely a winner. I've not even shot their full-size version. But with the aluminum frame and that shorter slide, it's just it's a really sweet shooting gun. I mean, you can tell there's just hardly any muzzle rise. The sights with that fiber optic front, the grips are nice. Even with a smooth back strap and front strap, the grips hold in well. This is a really great gun. Now for disassembly, we're going to drop our magazine. Go ahead and make sure the gun's unloaded. Pull the trigger in a safe direction. Go ahead and pull your slide back to this second notch, just like your safety notch. Pull all the way back, engage your safety into the notch, and that locks it open. Now this is your slide stop, and you're going to want to remove it, but you do it from the other side. And what I found is that if I push it up and then push out the button, and you may have to take a magazine. Just pop it out, and then you can grab it and pull it right out. Now disengage your safety, and then just pull the slide right off. Take your recoil spring, pull it forward, and then turn it, and it'll pull right out. And then we're taking our barrel out. Man, that is one nice, highly polished barrel. And of course here we have the recoil spring and guide rod, and you can remove the guide rod from the spring. Now the Girsan is here at the top, and it is open here, but on the original Browning high power, it is a complete circle. So you need to make sure that you put the upper end next to the barrel, whereas this comes up with a loop. Also, you'll notice the guide rod is really short when it comes to the standard high power, but with the Girsan, it's a little bit longer. And also, you'll notice the flat spring that the Girsan has, where we have the standard coil spring on the original high power. And guys, this really does aid in recoil management. As far as the look on the interior, very well done. Basic high power, but no tooling marks. I mean, it's just very well made. And of course, it's not cleaned, but still, you can see, excellent. And here in the slide, same thing. Girsan does a really good job of their machining, and just top quality. Now for reassembly, we're going to drop in our barrel, just like we do typically. Now when you're bringing in your guide rod, this is a longer guide rod, again, than your standard high power, so it's a little bit trickier, plus you have less room. But this really does help with the recoil management. Again, making sure that the higher raised area is toward the barrel. We're going to bring it in and try to compress it, making sure that barrel stays in that back position. And you'll need to come out of the front of the slide like that to really get it to fit. It takes a little bit of finagling, but there we go. We got it fit in, and it'll be smooth or the same level as it is with the barrel at the bottom. Slide over your frame, bring it back and lock in your notch. Bring in your slide stop, and it should just press in. And then we're going to release, and we're back in business. Now, as far as pros and cons, first off is you have an extended beaver tail. That's a huge plus. And you can get that on some of the other Girsan high powers as well. If you have bigger hands, I would highly recommend this. We have a more compact size, better for concealed carry, and we have lighter weight because of the aluminum alloy frame. It is optics ready, so you can switch that out. And you can get a version that has an accessory rail. G10 grips, flat-faced hammer, ambidextrous safeties. I mean, it's got a lot going for it. As far as some dings, I would say that because the sight has to come off to put a red dot on it, I mean, you know, that is one thing that I'd really rather see it have a separate sight. But the sights that are on it are excellent with the fiber optic and with the rear sight that's blacked out. The MSRP is $749. If you go with the OSP model with the accessory rail, it's $772. If you go with the all-steel frame Girsan high power, they start at about $585. And of course, market price is going to be less. Now your FN or your Browning high powers at this point, I'm seeing them around the $2,000 mark. And some of these, even the used ones, are bringing a really high price. So it's great to see a good option for less money. So guys, while the prices of the Browning high power have shot through the roof, you know, Girsan has put out a really nice line of high power pistols. But with the LW high power, you get a lot of features that even surpass the original Browning, and yet super lightweight, easy to carry, and it gives you that Browning high power feel to it. And again, we want to give a big thank you to European American Armory for sending the LW high power for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. Already made their standard night, and then it has the commander style hammer. You have take up to right here. Oops, can't do it without it. I'm gonna give a big thank you to. There we go. And we also appreciate Little Loaders for supplying whatever they're supplying. There they are. That's good enough.
It takes
Look, there's a target right there. It's a man target. Look, isn't that black?
Hold on.
Look, 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 look.
Dang.
That's kind of weird.
What if there's like a squatter in there?
Maybe there's a bear in there.
Where do I put it on? But Lord knows. Yeah, it's on.
Okay, get them on. Let's go. They on?
They're on. I just need
Get it. Get it.
your butt up there.
Don't mess with me, woman.